YouTube land, what's up? It's your girl Makara from Cougar's Closet. So listen here, tonight's topic is going to be, and I've touched on this before when I had a download about it, and it didn't apply to everybody. But tonight's topic is going to be about felons and employment. So last night, right, I was on TikTok, and so there was this lady on there, black girl. She looked like she might have been in her 30s or something. And she was crying and she was thanking God. She was saying that she had been trying to find um, employment, and she had something on her record. She had did something. I don't know what she had did. She didn't reveal what she had did, but it seemed like she had served her time or whatever. But when she got out, she wasn't able to find a job. So that put her in a situation where she had to create her own job. So she said she ended up, after getting, denied from all these jobs and couldn't get a job because of everything that was on her record, that she had started her own lawn care business, lawn care service or whatever. And that's how she was, providing. I don't know, like if she do lawn in the summer and then do snow in the snow and shovel or something in the winter. I mean, that's what I would do. But she was saying that's how she was able to provide for her kids and that her business was flourishing. And she was just crying, saying that nobody would forgive her. Nobody would understand her situation, although she had served her time. Well, then I was talking to an associate, and we were talking about, like how these jobs, like how they'll let you come in, and they'll let you work, 2 or 3 weeks until your background come back or whatever. And then if you have something on there, they'll let you go. Even though you didn't went to prison and served the time, you still can't find a job. Mind you, there are some things that I don't agree with, if somebody, different type of crimes, especially like if somebody did domestic battery, against kids, or, there's certain things that I agree with, but then for the most part, there's certain things that I don't. If somebody, got caught, distributing 22 keys coming over the border of Alabama state line, and, they had to go serve 22 years and they got out, why can't they get a job? I don't understand that. If they paid their dues, why can't they get a job? Like, they starting a brand new. Why can't they get a job? And I personally know about this because my mother, her and my father, they used to fight all the time. So my mother had a lot of domestic batteries on her record. Now, the crazy thing was, when my father was jumping on my mother, she never did call the police on him. But then they kept fighting, and then they started tying, and after a while, she started whooping him. As soon as she started whooping him, he called the police on her, and she was always getting these domestic batteries and aggravated batteries and these assaults on her record. And the 7-year mark was over, and she went to apply for a job. They told her they wished they could hire her, but they couldn't hire her because of her background. And she told them, well, it's been 7 years. And, that was me and my husband. We still together. And they said, well, it doesn't matter. And she said, but it's been over 7 years. And the lady that was going to give her the job said, well, they tell you that it has to be over 7 years. But that don't matter. That still stays on your record. Then I had, at the time when I was living in Cincinnati, Ohio, I used to go hang out in Dayton. And I had a girlfriend that I had met up there, and me and her, we kind of got close and we got to talking and stuff. And, our conversations, would get deeper, as the days and weeks and months went by. And so, I don't know how we got on this, but she was telling me that her brother had committed suicide. And so I asked her, why did her brother commit suicide? It was the same deal. She said that he had did something and he had got something on his record and he couldn't get a job nowhere. Well, then he tried the same thing. He tried to open up his own business, trying to start his own business. But then whatever business that he was trying to open and start, she said it was so many restrictions on it. He wasn't able to get off the ground. They was telling him he couldn't start this business because the things that he needed or whatever, or I guess to get a building or whatever, it disqualified him because of the things that he had on his record. A lot of people, these stars and stuff, that get a chance to speak to the president. I'm not understanding, like, why this is not a concern. Like, when they talk to the president or they ask for, sit down with him to come up with ideas, these stars, these puppets that they use, nobody, unless I'm wrong, I've never heard of anybody asking, why don't this stuff fall off your record after 7 years? And like my associate was saying to me, people do stuff when they're young or, absent-minded. And people, once they go in there and serve that time or whatever, people do change. But for some reason, if you live in these 50 states, once you get in the system, y'all just finished eating, I'm sorry. Once you get in the system like that, and I had a beer. Once you get in a system like that, it is very, very hard to find a job. Now, I know there are, places like ADM or warehouses or something that will hire felons, or hire ex-felons. But from what I understand in the research that I've done, they hire them, but it's a higher insurance on them because they're considered a high risk. But the people, I've met people that worked alongside of these felons that say that they don't want them in there, like they hiring all these felons. I don't feel comfortable, with them being up in here. We don't know, what he done, or sometimes people know, what you done or whatever. But it just, this is another problem that I have with America. Like, the system is so crooked and there's so many holes in it, and it's so designed for anybody to fail at this point. It really doesn't even become, a black thing. It's a black, white, multicultural, anything. If you got something on your record, it becomes a nuisance, to provide for yourself. And that gets into your livelihood, because if you can't provide for yourself, then you feeling some type of way. If you got a woman or if you got a lady, depending on her state of mind, that might not go too well with her. You might not be able to provide for yourself and her. And what if you have kids and a family? You won't be able to provide for your family. You see what I'm saying? Like, this thing, it comes full circle, and it's something that really, really needs to be addressed. If anybody, really cared about trying to fix this system, because this system is really, really, really broken. So I just want to get on here and see if I could find some facts about why people can't get a job after they serve their time. I mean, what was the point of them going to prison and giving you 15 years and giving you 20 years to come out and be told they can't get a job because of what they did, but that's why I just got out of prison. Like America is so unforgiving when it comes to people trying to start afresh or start a brand new. But see, my thing is something needs to be done about this, because this is what makes the crime rate go up higher. This is what makes theft go up higher, because if people can't get a job, then what do that mean? They ain't got no access to no money. Then what does that mean? That means they have to go into survival mode. People have to break down to their DNA and do what got them there in the first place. A lot of people, couldn't get a job for other reasons before they even tried to get a job. So I was just getting on here to see if I could find something, and I know that there is expungements, and I know that you can get records sealed, but the way these states are, I know they're in different states and different laws, but it has to be for certain different type of things that you can get expungements. It have to be for certain different type of things that you could get stuff concealed. You got to fall in this bracket. You got to fall in that bracket. You got to fall in this bracket. You can't have this. You can't have that. Which excludes a lot of people from getting to the money. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to find anything or not, but I sure do want to give it a try. I just want to get on here and use my platform, for something more reasonable that has to do with a lot of why the economy is broken, along with other things that's going on, with all these people being able to come across the border and this and that and that and this, because these are things that need to be addressed. These are things that need to be fixed, because if these things aren't fixed, then we ain't got nothing going. So let me see if I can find something. Why, after 7 years, people cannot find a job after doing time in jail? However, formerly incarcerated persons face many barriers to employment, such as stigma by employers, restriction, prohibition, y'all know what I'm trying to say, to some jobs because of criminal records, lacks or gaps in work experience, and defects in human capital such as inadequate education, training, or vocational skills. And another thing about lacking training and lacking vocational skills, what I find out too? A lot of these jobs don't even need all of this education like they claim. Like my mother talked to me a lot. Y'all know I talked to y'all about how me and my mother would talk. My mother said before they even came up with all of this stuff, when she was coming up, she said you didn't even need no college education. She said they would take you out to a job site. Say, for example, they had a job. This is just an example that she gave me. I'm giving it to y'all. If they had a job for digging a hole, she said they would take both men out there, or how many ever they was hiring for, get them the shovel, let them dig the hole. The people would come by and see who dug the hole the best. Whoever dug the hole the best, that was who got the job. Most of these jobs, y'all, all you have to do is take the people out and show them how to do it. You don't need an education for all of this stuff. The only time I really think you would need education for this is like if you messing with chemicals or something and you mixing this and that can cause some type of combustion and cause some type of explosion. But don't nobody... It's just a way to come in and make money off of people's backs. A lot of people that, I'm telling y'all, a lot of people that have went to school and then spent 4 and 5 years or 10 years in college, when they come out, the stuff that they learned ain't even got nothing to do with the job that they doing. They might went to school for something and then have to come out and take a job in another field because either they can't get to that job or they, like they said, they lack the skills, but the people don't want to show them. They sit here with a master's degree that they have to pay the money back for. But how can they pay the money back for if people telling them they ain't got enough experience? Now they sitting up here with all of this money that they owe back, but they can't pay it back. I've heard so many people saying that they got all these degrees and they can't even get a job. They done had all this intern, they done had all this extern, they done had all this outturn, and nobody will call them, hire them for a job, but they stuck with a bill on trying to pay this money back. Y'all, I'm getting excited. This college thing, it to me, it ain't getting, it's just turning into a scam anymore. They put you in a position to say that you owe them, and then they come after you, but you ain't even making the money. Or if you finally do get a job with this degree, guess what? They'll tell you that the job starting out at $22. When you go in there and they see who you are, then they say, well, this job is paying $15 an hour. You see what I'm saying? It's a lot of stuff that's going on with all of these degrees and going to college and this and that. Why is it hard to get a job after jail? Unfortunately, ex-offenders might find out they don't qualify for certain jobs because of their criminal record. Additionally, in many cases, parolees face discrimination due to the stigma associated with having been in prison. But just finding a job can be difficult. Doesn't mean that it's impossible. No, it's not impossible, but it sure is hard for somebody that needs something right then and there. How to get a job after not working 10 years. Start your job search with a focus, refreshing your resume, build your professional network, inform your network, consider part-time or contract work, develop your elevator pitch, get help from a career coach, prepare for interviews. And I know some people, that's been a prison or something, they end up getting jobs like outside, like contractor jobs where they can work outside of people's houses, but they can't go inside of people's houses. And I've also seen, work programs like where they have guys, put houses together or whatever. There's pieces and planks that they learn how to put together. Or I've known personally some of my guy friends that went to prison, and while they were in there, they were lucky enough, they had enough, money put back or family supporting them to where they was able to get their AC license or take advantage of some type of class, while others that couldn't do that be in there pumping iron. You see what I'm saying? It's a fine line with this stuff. Let me see. Why does criminal activity not drop off of your record in 7 years? Does your criminal record clear after 7 years? They tell you it do, but it don't. So here, I'm on Quora. Your credit record, we ain't talking about a credit record, clears after 7 years, not your criminal record. So maybe I was confused and I thought after 7 years, your background, your criminal clears, but they saying that that's not true. It's your credit record clears after 7 years, not your criminal record. You can get a lawyer and try to get the criminal record expunged, erased. Only an attorney will be able to look at your situation and see if it's possible in your case. See, that's what I'm saying. It's certain criterias. Make sure it's an attorney that is very experienced with expungements. Do not just get any attorney. Let me see this. Now where the good information at, they won't let me. What happens to your criminal record after 7 years? A criminal record stays with you for life. Let me see if I can open this up in the app. Hopefully I can, because it cuts me off. I don't want to. It's, you know how they have these things where they want you to subscribe. A criminal record stays with you for life unless it gets expunged by a judge, and even then, it doesn't disappear. Law enforcement will still see it as whenever they look you up. It just wouldn't show on the standard background check. The statute of limitations for most felonies is 7 years, meaning if you commit a crime but you aren't arrested for it, then the case is no longer pursuable after 7 years. Let's see. Here goes something I can continue reading. Why do felonies stay on your record forever? I believe that after 10 years, nonviolent felonies should be purged from a person's record. What are your thoughts? After the 7 years or 5 years, I think they should go after they serve their time. Felonies stay on your record because the American justice system is about retribution and punishment, not about rehabilitation. See what I'm saying? America needs to be about rehabilitation and not punishment if somebody has served their time. See, we all messed up here in America. A felony on your record stays with you for life. It affects the work you can do, where you can live, and at any time a crime happens in your vicinity, you're going to be one of the first people Ellie talks to. My crime was selling drugs. I did it. I served my time. Had 0 write-ups in prison. Did everything parole asked of me. To the point my parole officer put me forward for early release. And I was successful. Now that I'm fortunate, I run my own business so I don't have to deal with low-paying jobs that are available to most felons. But if I wasn't fortunate enough to do that, going back to selling drugs would be very tempting. When you have a family and all you can do is earn $10 an hour, the rent is late, and they are threatening to off the lights and water. I know ex-convicts in this situation, a life of crime where you can earn $1 to $500 for 15 minutes effort becoming very appealing. I know personally where I am from in the UK that if you're caught and convicted under the age of 18 and you go to a half years with no convictions, then the convictions get moved off of your basic police check, but still can be found if an employer asks for an extended police check. But wait a minute. Let me start over. I know personally where I am from in the UK that if you're caught and convicted under the age of 18 and you go to have a half years with no convictions, then the convictions get moved off of your basic police check, but can still be found if the employer asks for extended police check. The length of time you have to wait double to 5 years if you're above 18. I've never heard of anyone in the UK getting any convictions expunged from their record. And although, And although I'm not sure why, but on an extended police check, it shows a record of every arrest and outcome for which could give off a wrong idea for an employer if they're closed-minded and don't really look at the outcome of the arrest. I'm not sure if there is any exceptions, as I was with a friend a few weeks back who had been in trouble and jail a few times, and his basic record goes back over a decade, whereas although I haven't been 2 years convicted free since my first major sentence, and they were mostly only petty driving offenses, one fraud and a probation violation for being at work, believe it or not. And yet somehow my only major conviction has been removed off my record, which I'm very chuffed about But like I said, it isn't far away if a potential employer wanted to do an extended check. I do realize most of these questions asked are related to the U.S. system. You got that right, related to the U.S. system. But I think it's a nice contrast to read how different it is across the pond. Maybe everybody should pack up they got felonies and move to the UK. That's my biggest regret when I was younger, was not thinking ahead, because the U.S. was always my dream holiday, and now it's long out of my reach thanks to being so stupid as a kid at some subsequent years. My last conviction was my probation violation in the summer of last year, so I'm hoping this is the first year towards my 5-year conviction free. I got no probation or excuses now, as I am in no ways as immature as I once was. You will have a criminal record with these entries at least 7 years old. There is no statute of limitations or automatic purging of criminal records. If you were arrested for a crime, the arrest is recorded on your record. Actually, it will be recorded in several places. The law enforcement agency that handled the arrest will have a record. The state will probably have one, and the arrest will be recorded by the FBI. All of these records will remain in place unless you have managed to get a court to seal and expunge them. That doesn't happen terribly often. This concept of records that are forever seems to be very difficult for some people to understand, particularly if they were raised in a culture where there were an unlimited number of do-overs with no penalty. The best way to avoid consequences of a criminal record is not to acquire one. Yeah. Now they saying in Australia, your record get hidden after so many years. Maybe people ought to pack up and move to Australia. Does your criminal record get hidden after so many years? In Australia, yes. I am uniquely qualified to answer. I was a criminal lawyer who did some cash in hand work and got busted for essentially tax fraud. My conviction is public for 10 years. Your jurisdiction is probably similar. So we could go on and go on about this, but I think y'all get the point. In different places, you know, people are forgiven. But here in America, in the United States, you're not forgiven. And this is a problem. This is a big problem because you got more people, you got more men and women damn near in jail than you do out on the street. So what are they supposed to do when they come home and they can't get a job but they done served the time? So basically you telling me that America is not forgiving. That's all you saying to me. So, I don't know, y'all. Try not to get in trouble. That's about the only thing I can think of. But, and another thing, right? Even with someone being a felon, and they end up being able, by the grace of God, to land a successful business of their own that flourishes, right? But then what about the 401k? What about the benefits? What about the insurance? Most of the time, people I know or research that I've done personally, or even insurance, like say for instance, if I decided that I wasn't going to go with my job's insurance and I was going to get my own insurance, the rates are so freaking high. And then the 401k, I don't know how that goes, but if you were able to find a 401k on your own, are they matching it? You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just a whole bunch of, I don't know. But I want to do this because this is a problem. This is a problem for everybody that lives in America. This ain't no black thing. This ain't no white thing. This is a green thing. This is a money thing. They stopping the money. They stopping the bag. But you done went to jail. You done apologized. You done did your time. And when you get out, you still back to square one. They could have left your ass out for all that matter. You know. Well, anywho, let me wrap this up. Y'all, I'm going to have to start doing more longer videos because I'm not getting any of my watch time in, which is making it real hard for me to get monetized. I told y'all before that doing the shorts, it doesn't get you time or whatever. And I don't know why. I'm going to have to keep doing some research or whatever and find out why my time is leaving. But it's going backwards, so I don't know. But yeah, so I want to talk to that because I just don't think that that's fair right there. America need to do better. So, I don't know. Cougar's Closet, y'all take it easy.